You're here. You're hosting We Made My Day. And I'm so appreciated. So now I'm going to shut up.
Oh,
you do your thing.
really? Okay. All right. Well, first of all, so did you say what's your clean date?
March 14th, 2017. Yesterday was 8 years. Crazy.
There's your 8 year. So I wanted to get that for you and give that to you. I'm proud of you.
Thank you so much. I'm literally tearing up here.
Oh, good. Don't edit that out.
Thank you so much.
Yeah, I was at the meeting and I thought about you. I was like, I want to go. He's not here, so.
Thank you. And I, I am going to go because you're supposed to go and show it can be done. All that. I'm going to, but this means more to me than going and having people see me. Yeah. Thank you so much. Oh, man. Now I'm all like woozy.
Well, I wanted to give it to you.
Thank you.
So yeah. All right.
Yeah. March 14th, 2017.
And what was that day like for you?
I don't remember exactly. Honestly. Like, I know March, I woke up in my backyard. My car, I'll be honest with you, I've told this story to where it was busted through the fence, and I was recently told that's incorrect. It was pushed up against the fence, and it was almost totaled. But, and there was like red paint on it, but I never knew what the red stuff was. I never wanted to know.
Right.
And there was like parts of like plastic to where a buddy said it was like looked like a car seat. So that was terrifying. But he also said, I don't know if it was a car seat. I just wanted to scare the fuck out of
Right,
you.
right.
But I woke up like I did every other morning, hungover. This was a little bit different because I had that gut feeling that something really bad had happened, like worse than anything that had ever happened in those nights. And I woke up and I woke up, I got my dog out of the house. I went to go into the bathroom and I looked at my phone and it was shattered. And I'm like, that's weird. I better look at the messages. And that's the first thing I did when I woke up every morning was check the messages, see who I had to apologize to.
Mm-hmm.
See what ladies I had
drunk
texted. Which my drunk texts were never nasty. Like they were like comedic.
Yeah.
Like I'd send them a video of my like current state and been like, don't you want to come home to this? Something like that. Which they never did. Ever. It never worked, but I kept trying. But then I went outside to make sure my car was there, and I saw like the tail lights way up too far, and I'm like, oh, and I remember seeing that it had been, I wasn't going to be able to drive it. I didn't know the really fucked up part of the car was up in front against like the house, and like the fence in the house were like this, and the car was like right here, and this part was fucked up. So I didn't know. I knew I wasn't going to drive it anywhere, but I worked from home, so I didn't care. But then like I just had this gut feeling that something was up, and then I checked my voicemails, and there was a bunch of voicemails from like bars downtown saying you can't come back. I guess I did a lot of stuff said a lot of things that night.
Yeah.
And then one of them was from one of my best friends, who was just like, dude, I'm not doing this anymore. Like, you gotta call me as soon as you wake up. And then I used FaceTime on my computer because my phone wouldn't dial out. And he was just like, hey man, are you home? I'm like, yeah. He goes, I'm gonna be right there. And him and another buddy came over. And they told me straight up, they're like, dude, I've known these guys for 10, 15 years at that point. Now it's been over 20, 25. And he was just like, we're not doing it anymore. Like, you got to get help or we're dropping you. And so they're like, come look at your car. And then they showed me my car. And then I'm like, okay, I'll do it. And they were like, cool, call your parents. I'm like, whoa, slow down, baby steps. And they're like, no, rip the fucking Band-Aid off, you pussy. And I'm like, okay. So I call my mom and dad, who are the sweetest human beings. Like if you look at like some sort of fairy tale episode of people that have been together for over 50 years and are still madly in love, like Leave It to Beaver type, like that's those two. And they have been supporting me pretty much.
Supporting or enabling?
Supporting. Well, enabling.
Yeah.
I don't have the heart to like ever say that that's what they were doing, but they were.
Yeah.
Like they didn't know it. I was manipulating
Right.
it.
No, they don't normally know that. Yeah.
So I called them and I let them know that I had to get help and I needed to go somewhere. They were cool. They were calm. They were collect. They were here in 3 hours. Which is a 2.5 hour drive. So the fact that they got their shit together that quick, came up. I called Wilmington Treatment Center like as soon as I got off the phone with them. She was like, "Yeah, we got a bed. We can get you in at 5." I'm like, "Fuck! I thought it was gonna be tomorrow."
Yeah.
But, which now that I think about it, what I know about WTC, I was pretty lucky.
Yeah.
To have a bed that quick. So I'm glad it happened that way. So then I went to WTC that night, and it was terrifying. And, I don't even know if I told one of this story. I don't even know I think I posted it one time on a sober date, but I don't ever think I've said it like I mean anything. I got there, and I was looking around at everybody, and I was like, everybody here looks horrible. Horrible. Like, this isn't me. I don't belong here. What did I do? And I got into the room, and this really nice guy who I was sizing up was like looking through all my shit. And then he was like, yeah, you can't do, like his whole demeanor changed from when he took me from the front to the back.
Oh, was it staff?
Yeah.
Like
he was like, hey, good. I'm glad you're here, man. Come on back. As soon as we shut the door, he's like, that way. Go. I'm like, fuck, all right. And he ended up being one of the coolest people there, and I don't even remember his name. He was like my age.
Yeah.
Probably a little younger than me back then. But he took me in the room. He went through all my shit, and then they were like, well, you're going to have a roommate in here. This is detox, and then you'll go to the houses when you're out of detox. And I'm like, whatever, man.
Yeah.
Like, I don't think I'm going to stay anyway. He goes, yeah, okay. And then I met my roommate, who at first I thought was the weirdest dude. Like, he was that guy who ended up being one of the sweetest human beings that I've ever met. And but that night, like, I just started bawling. Like, I walked out to try to like do something, and one of the first people, you remember Paige, small little blonde girl? No? Okay. It was Paige and Jackie were the first two people I met. But I walked out in the hall, and like, she was one of them. It wasn't Jackie, it was the other one. It was just like, you look like you just saw a motherfucking ghost. And I'm like, what the fuck's wrong with her? And I'm like looking around, and people are like thugging, like trying to look mean, and I'm like, this is a prison. I made the wrong mistake. This is dumb. And I'm like, I gotta make a call. They're like, you just walked in the door. No. And I'm like, no, fuck that. I need to make a call. I'm a grown man. They're like, okay, no, you can make one tomorrow.
Yeah.
Look, everybody feels this way. It was Carmen. She really calmed me down. She was like, everybody feels this way when they first get here. Go to sleep. Try to sleep.
Yeah.
At least see how you feel once you got whatever you have in your system out of it. Because everybody comes here with something. I'm like, I haven't drank since last night.
Yeah, I'm good. Yeah, right.
Yeah, like then I started bawling, man, bawling, and my roommate came in, and he was like, "What the fuck's wrong with you?" I was just like, "Man, I don't need to be here. I don't deserve to be here. Like, I need help, but I can just go to meetings and all that." He goes, "All right, man, well, let me know if you want to have a conversation that's not about you," or something like that. Like, I don't even remember exact words, but I was like just laying in the floor in the bathroom of the detox room, and I was just like, this people out there, just, they're sick. That's not me. I'm not that way. And I got up and I looked. I was like, holy fuck. It was like the first time I've looked at myself.
Yeah.
And the way that wasn't being covered up by pills and booze, and I didn't have those goggles on to be like, "Oh, Billy, you're fucking beautiful." Like, and I was like, holy fuck, I'm sick.
Yeah.
So that was like my first realization that I made the right choice. And then from there, like, I don't think I didn't meet you in rehab, did I? I met you after, I think.
When did you go? 2017? Yeah, so I was the alumni coordinator then, so not the tech supervisor. Yeah, so we met, I think, at IOP.
Yeah, it was IOP. Mm-hmm. Like, I loved rehab.
Yeah.
Like, after I got the first initial 24 hours out of my system, I mean, I did what I do everywhere. Like, I used comedy as a crutch.
Yeah.
And I started making everybody laugh. I didn't have one person that disliked me, which was great because I don't have that effect in the real world. And then Carmen again came up, was just like, "Hey, you're really making them laugh out there, and we haven't had an argument in a few days." I was like, "Hey, happy to help." She goes, "That's great, but when are you going to help yourself?"
Yeah.
I was like, "What? I am helping myself." She goes, "You've done nothing but make people laugh, and I haven't seen you participate in anything." And I was going to all the classes and stuff, but but it turned out to be really, really good. And I was there 24 days because the curriculum had started over. And okay, good. And I was like, and all my friends had already left.
Yeah.
And then there was a bunch of court appointed people coming in who I'm like, you know what? I'm good.
Yeah, it's tough when it changes. The whole dynamic changes, and you're like, but.
And I had I still keep up with good people. Like, I don't know if they're still clean or sober.
Yeah.
But I had at least 100 friends on Facebook that I was in rehab with.
Yeah.
I've heard from some of them. A lot of them, their accounts have gone dark. Still there.
Right.
But haven't updated in 4 years. So who knows? And I met some good people there. Like Jackie was somebody that I really, she was this really cool, it wasn't an attraction. It was you're here to have fun, but you're learning. Yeah. I'm here, and I didn't know she had been a 10 Peter there. She had been there multiple times, because that's not something you just ask somebody, "Hey, this is your first time? How would you in for?" I mean, people did. I didn't.
That was your first time in treatment, right?
That was my only time.
Only
in
time.
Treatment.
So one in.
Thank God.
Yeah.
I mean,
it'd be scary.
It's still hard work.
Yeah. Yeah. Oh yeah.
Yeah, I don't. And what's funny is as we grow, I realized this last night. I was talking to Robin. This year was the second year that she had remembered because she put it in her calendar. But normally, unless I post something, or since this show started, that I talk about it more and all that. But it's been great to where the people that know me from me now, that don't know that side of me, this is like the first year to where like, man, my boss said something because he put it in his calendar, which was nice. My daughter woke me up with a big hug, said, "Hey, Daddy, happy sober birthday." And I'm like, cool. You don't know what the fuck that means, but it's really
That's pretty
sweet.
cool, yeah.
You know, and this is the first year where I didn't feel immense amount of pride. I'm still trying to work through why. I think it's like I asked my cousin who has like 18 years.
Yeah.
And I was like, I just don't like. I thought about it, and I'm like grateful. Don't get me wrong, but I'm not rushing out to see where I could go show the newcomer at work. So I'm not rushing out. But I also have this training that I'm doing.
Right, because usually you go to the meetings.
And, first thing in the morning.
And you know.
All day long.
Yeah.
You know, like I'll come home with like 8 chips by the end of the day. Like, and I always hand them out to all my family members.
Yes.
Of like, hey, thank you.
Yeah.
You know, like I don't own one. Now I own 2. I got like a really nice one like this, which is beautiful. This is nicer than the one I have. I bought myself last year. But I have the 7-year and then now this 8-year that I will keep for myself. But other than that, like I have my white. I have all my key tags.
Yeah.
But chips, like I usually give to my wife, and then I gave them to my dad before that.
I gave my son my 4-year? My 4-year NA key tag. Yeah.
Yeah?
Yeah. I was like, here you go. It was the last one I picked up in NA. Yeah.
I
mean, not that I, used or anything, but that was the last one I had picked up, and I had handed it to him because that's the reason why I got sober. But
yeah,
you have a different story than that because you just went on your own with nothing.
Well,
I mean, with your friends telling you that you needed to go, but
yeah. Well, again, I think you know this too. Like, no, it's not going to work, and you're not going to go until you're ready. And I think I knew I was ready for a while.
Yeah.
But like I had started to notice some things. Like I went through, let's see, that was March, the October before that. So I was a big online dater person.
Okay.
And I matched this chick on Tinder. And I went to, she was like, let's go to breakfast at Waffle House. And I'm like, cool. We went. And that's when I learned that she lived in a sober house.
Okay.
And she had been there, and she had like a year under her belt, or almost a year under her belt. Turns out that she was not still sober. She was just living there.
Right.
But then I'm like, you know what? She told me her story and everything. I'm like, this sounds a lot like me. So I'm like, you know what? I'm gonna try this. So I went to a meeting. Fortunately, I went to the wrong first meeting. And it scared me off. Yeah. I'm like, I'll just do it by myself. I'm Billy motherfucking Raim. I can do anything. Right. No.
Yeah.
I made it like 10 days. And then I started like drinking again. And then those 10 days where I wasn't drinking, I substituted weed for it. And it wasn't like I have nothing against weed. It should be legal, but it should also still be kind of regulated like booze and cigarettes and stuff like that. But I wasn't like a big pot smoker, but boy, oh boy, did I try to turn myself into one those 10 days.
Yeah.
Like I spent more money on weed trying to keep myself
from drinking
than I did on booze, which is a lot. And then I got into an accident after I started drinking again. And in November or December, end of November, I said, I'm going to really do this. And I started going to meetings. I found a couple meetings in town that I liked going to. Went to one every night for 20-something days, and I was doing great. And my 29th day was on December 31st on New Year's Eve, and I was staying home because I didn't want to drink. Yeah. And I ended up taking a bunch of the anti-anxiety medicine that my doctor gave me. And I convinced myself right there to drive myself, and I got obliterated that night because I was depressed because I was home and I couldn't go out, and nobody else wanted to do the sober thing because my whole life revolved around people who drank and did drugs. So it was like I didn't have anybody else. My best friends, even the ones that like they were either out, or my other best friend, like Alan, he if you need something, he's there for you.
Yeah.
But he loves being at home by himself. And it's like he's not the friend you can just kick open a door and be like, hey, I'm here, even though I did it a lot.
Right.
That's how I learned he's not the friend you can do that with. Yeah. But he, like, it wasn't like one of those things where like I just drank. And then it started back again. And then this time it was even more so. I'm like, fuck it. You know?
Yeah.
Like, and it went from like, my thing was like white wine, believe it or not. Like I would drink 3 or 4 bottles of white wine and then drive to the comedy club. And then don't even remember coming home any at all.
So let me ask you, when you were going to those meetings, were you like meeting people and like getting involved in what they were doing? Like in whatever AA, NA, whatever you
Can
said?
I answer your question with a question?
Yeah.
If you would have think, knowing what you know about me, what kind of person do you think I was when I first started going to meetings, having no sober time whatsoever?
In and out?
No.
Making everybody laugh? Yeah. Okay.
I would not shut the fuck up. I thought I knew everything.
You were just, okay. You were one of the, oh, okay.
The last meeting I went to, and this is the one, remember that time you came and saw me, came for me to pick up? It was that building?
Yeah.
Which, I'll be honest with you, I'm sure there may be a good meeting there. I've never been the one that helped me.
Yeah.
But it was in the main big room. Mm-hmm. And that was the day I learned where this guy, he was really nice, big guy. I think his name was Slade or something. Yeah, that was his name. I remember that because I put his number in my phone and I still have it there to this day, and I've never called him once.
Yeah.
Like, and that was over 8 years ago. But when I was walking out, I got up to go to the bathroom, and he came out and he goes, hey man, could you do me a favor? And I'm like, what? He goes, can you shut the fuck up? I'm like, whoa, you don't talk to me. I was a fucking diva.
Right.
I had no humbleness about me.
Yeah.
I was a performer, and that was it. Mm-hmm. Like, you can't turn me off. I had no off switch. And he was just like, I'm not trying to be rude, but I feel like that was the only thing that would have got your attention. I'm like, well, what do you mean? He goes, I can tell that you're new. I can tell you maybe have a day.
Yeah. Yeah.
He was like, you don't know shit. Like, you haven't even shit in the pot yet. And you're in there talking like you know you can do this. Mm-hmm. He's like, do me a favor. If you come back, which I don't know if you will, he was like, come to 5 meetings and don't say a fucking word.
Yeah.
And I'm like, fine, I can do that. I did it, but it was hard, but he was so right.
Yeah.
He was so right. Like, I just needed to shut up and listen. Mm-hmm. Now, it did show me that, or I convinced myself that I was nothing like a lot of the people that was in there trying to get help. Even though I was.
Yeah.
I was in the perfect place.
Right. Right.
But my ego wouldn't let me. You know, you got to hit rock bottom. My rock bottom wasn't the same as a lot of people's rock bottom, but you can't compare those. It was still my rock bottom.
Right.
You know, we're all from different trees. We all fall from different height branches.
Yeah.
After I asked you if you wanted to host this, I was like, you know, yeah, I'm comfortable with my sobriety. Yeah, I have a right to tell my stuff, but I didn't suffer as a lot of people did. Like, when I got out of rehab, I still had a home. I still had a job that didn't let me miss a paycheck. I still had like a mom and dad that were there to enable me more, but in a different way.
Right, right.
You know, like I didn't like have to live in hotels. I didn't have to go to a halfway house.
Right.
Sober living. I still sometimes think I should have, but my parents took it upon themselves to move my buddy Marco in, like a week after I got out of rehab, which was fine because I wanted somebody there.
Right.
But I've always had this thing of not feeling like my story was worth it because it's kind of lame, like I kind of like, compared to some of the stories I've heard on here and in rooms, like, man, like people have gone through the trenches and through hell and back, and I passed hell.
Yeah, but your story, that's so not true. Like, and the pride in the 8 years, that's huge. That's huge. Like, you don't have to be. It's so funny because, like, we'll go out for breakfast and you'll see people are like, "What group are you from?" Can't be church. You know what I mean?
What do you mean
what?
You can't be church. I mean, that's judging. Fuck.
But it's like, are you from a church? Like, where are all these people that you would never talk to if we didn't have the purpose, of being in recovery or addicts or alcoholics or whatever. But it's like, you deserve to tell your story just as much as everybody else. So when did you start drinking? Like, how old are you?
I was late bloomer.
Really?
I was like, I moved to Wilmington. So I graduated high school in 1999. It's supposed to be 1998, but I skipped pretty much my whole freshman year.
Yeah.
By that freshman year, I had smoked weed once, and I was freaked out how I didn't remember anything. Mm-hmm. And I was in a cornfield in Iowa when I did it. I had been drunk once. It was a 40 with this ginger kid who thought he was a gangster and listened to Bone Thugs throwing gang signs in his room. And they all left, and I threw up all over his Redskins starter jacket. And his mom came in and kicked me out.
Yeah. And
then I went and fell on my friend's front porch and just fell asleep. And I was like, I'm never drinking again. And I didn't.
Yeah.
I was probably like 15, 16 then. But then when I moved down to Wilmington, like I was like, yeah, I'm not going to do drugs. I'm not going to drink. I'm going to come down here, be an actor. And I started working on like Dawson's Creek as like extra work, and then got some horse shows for extra work. And then one night my buddies were just like, hey, smoke this. And I'm like, cool. And they're like, hey, now drink this. I'm like, cool. Mm-hmm. I didn't really like the weed too much, but man, the first time I like got drunk and didn't get sick, and I realized, oh man, you're not going to get sick from this. This is awesome. And then it was like every night. That was like my social thing. It was probably about 6 months of going out or just staying in the apartment complex with all my friends drinking before I started drinking by myself at night. And then, I wasn't 21 yet. Mm-hmm. So I was probably about 20. And then I found my first band that was actually a band. And we saw a bunch of good success, and I never had to pay for drinks. And then I was like, that's when I was really drinking every single night by myself and with the band and for everything. And it just, I was thinking about this the other day, like between 21 and 25 is where I don't think there was a night where I didn't get hammered.
Yeah.
Then I moved down to Myrtle Beach in 2006 to join another band because I thought I should go down there and get my act together. And this band like packed out the House of Blues and stuff. And I was like, yeah, this is where I'll go be a rock star and all that. And it didn't fucking happen. They had their shit together with drinking. They had jobs and all that shit. But I went down there, and I think the first night I was there, I was like, I'm going to go celebrate. And nobody wanted to go, so I went by myself, and I found some blow on the back of the toilet in a baggie. It turned out not to be.
You just did it?
I just did it.
I mean, I would have done the same
bag.
thing too, but...
Yeah, the whole bag. I'd never done it before.
Yeah, great.
So I was calling like relatives I hadn't talked to in 20 years at midnight, like, hey, how you doing? We're going to... Like, it was like, I never did it again after that night.
Yeah.
Well, Yeah, I did, but not for a long time. But then it was like I just drank every night there, and then I met my ex-wife, and I met her while we were drinking, and even with like the health problems, like they thought I had Crohn's disease for like 6 years, but it was because of the alcohol was eating me from the inside out, and then that's where it was like my liquor years, and not like the ones you buy from the liquor store. I'm talking about
the Ichikatsu,
the backwoods, like the bottle like looks like it's about to crack from the amount of alcohol in it. Like, and it was like from that time, from 2002 to 2014, it was just like this non-stop downhill slope. And then I moved back here in 2014. After my divorce, I was like, okay, well, the Dead Crow is opening back up, or gonna open up. So there's a good comedy club. Shorty and Marco are down there. I don't have anything to stay here for. And up there I had a good job at like a huge comedy club, and I was like getting stage time, and but something told me I just shouldn't stay there in Virginia Beach.
Okay, so you're in Virginia.
Yeah, I was in Norfolk and Virginia Beach.
Okay.
So I moved back down here, started doing the comedy thing here. I'm like, I'm really gonna get my shit together. No. Not at all, man. Like, I came down here and went even harder, because then, like, before I moved down here, I came down for like 3 weeks and worked on a movie as a lighting guy, and I made more money in 3 weeks than I had made in like a whole 6-month period in my life.
Yeah.
So, and then I had like divorce money too, like, hey, get the fuck out of my life money. That. So I had like a good, like 20, 30,000 in the bank. Never had that again.
Right.
But I blew through it with just buying shit for my apartment, drinking, buying drinks. I mean, I can't tell you on how many nights when I had that money, I would say the thing that I'd always wanted to say, round on the house for me. Like, I was just buying everybody's shit. And then I blew through all that and didn't have much money. And then the job I have now kind of fell in my lap. And I don't even know how I kept that job then, because I was closing at that time. So by 9 o'clock at night, I'd already opened the first bottle, and by 11:30 when I got off, I was getting ready to start the third. Just because I knew I had to leave as soon as I got off of work, because it was important I made it to the bar in time.
Very important.
It was very important, because I didn't want to miss anything at midnight. Like, it was just a constant thing, and the pills that I got when I got down here didn't help. Because I had been off ADHD meds for like, I moved down here and I needed to find where I could get them, because I was taking them up there too. That's right. And I found a doctor, and then he's the one that said, hey, let's give you these Klonopins. And I'm like, yeah, let's do that. That's a great idea.
Yeah.
And he goes, well, we'll start you off really low. Then the next month I said, well, they're really not doing much. I'm having panic attacks. And I wasn't. So it went from like a 1 milligram to like 10 to 20 to 30. And it was like I just lived on those.
Yeah.
And
to come off of those are...
Oh, it was so bad.
Terrible, yeah.
Like, I don't think coming off of alcohol was horrible. It wasn't good.
Right.
But coming off those benzos, holy shit.
Yeah.
Like, my insides were turning.
Yeah.
My head was turning. My throat was like, I felt like my throat was tying itself in knots.
Yeah.
Like, my body was just shaking.
Yeah.
And that was even after I got out of rehab.
Yeah, really?
And like, I knew rehab worked, because when I got home, my parents had refilled my prescriptions from where they lived in North Carolina. Because in that town, if you know somebody, nobody thought old Linda and Dick were gonna, abuse pills or whatever.
Right.
So they got my prescription filled. Like, as soon as I got home, like the next morning I woke up and I was still kind of fucked up from all the phenobarbital from rehab. In fact, the night after I got out of rehab, Carolina Tar Heels were playing in the national championship. My favorite thing in the whole world is Carolina basketball. Favorite thing in the whole world. That's why I didn't go pick up my chip last night, because Carolina Duke were playing in the ACC tournament. And I told Shannon Gilmore, He was going to take me to a meeting. I'm like, sorry, man. Duke Carolina game. I'll quit a job before I miss that.
Man, you should have gone.
I should have. Yeah, that was a fucking that asshole stepping on the line.
I mean, I listened to his story, and I was really impressed, and I liked how he talked about the connection and how everybody hangs out and goes, and does things together, and
that blows me away because I don't know that.
Yeah,
I never had that. In the 8 years I've been sober, even when I was going to meetings every day, and I was being nice to people. Yeah. Like I was being myself. I was being nice. I would shut up. I would listen because I always remember what Blade or Blaze or whatever his name was would tell me. I always shut up in meetings. I never really talked, and I still don't when I go. Yeah. Every now and then I will if I hear something where I really know I have something cool to say that will help out. Right. But I've never had that thing. So many guests on this show, like Travis and Julia and Shannon and you and really everybody. But I created that through the alumni. I didn't do it like when I got down here from Boston. I tried to like get involved, and it just I was shy. I'm shy. You are shy.
I am shy.
And but when you get to know somebody,
like I'll walk in a room like I'm like a badass, but I'm shy, really. And so, but when I go to the meetings, I'd come early, clean up, and then go and stay afterwards because I didn't want to share in the meetings. So, but it's huge to have that connection. That's why I started the alumni. So we had stuff to do and that connection and going out to lunch and stuff. We were the oddballs, people that didn't really go to meetings like and get involved in the meetings like that. That's what the alumni was for.
You've helped so many people and do that to kind of get into when I talked to Malshawn, I'm never going to say a name right, buddy. I'm sorry. Well, I'm too tragically Caucasian to get it right. That's just the way it is. Before we even started, I mentioned your name. Anybody I've ever mentioned your name to has lit up like a Christmas tree. And it's so nice where I'm like, they're like, and they put me on the same because I'm doing this. They're like putting me on your pedestal. And I'm like, no, man, look, I'm just like you, dude. I am not a disciple like she is. Like, I ain't that angel. But they,
but you hear Michon, his story, he's not into the meetings and the stuff like that. You know what I mean? Yeah. So he comes to the softball games. He comes to roll call to tell his story because, again, just like this is not about AA or NA. It's about your recovery, what you're doing for your recovery. It's separate than, it's not, doesn't always have to be the program. I think that's where you sell yourself short, maybe, where like
I sell myself short a lot of places.
Like where I didn't, go pick up, or I didn't, feel like, but like you know what I'm saying?
Yeah, I do. But I think I have a my whole life, and that's kind of why I've always disguised things with humor, is like growing up, I went to my grandfather was a Methodist preacher. My mom was the president of United Methodist Women as far as I can remember. I was forced to go to church every Sunday until I was like 16, and then they gave me a choice. Then after church on Sunday, I had to go to a youth group Sunday night, which was full of the town's favorite preppy kids who were all fucking bullies. 90% of them were just shitty kids. Like, and I used to tell my mom that, I'm like, you're really doing this, but when I go to school, they're talking shit to me. Yeah. When the church directors are leaving, they're talking shit to me. They locked me in a bathroom one night, cut all the lights out, and then left. And then finally, like, the youth director had to come down and let me out. Like, hey, we can keep this between us. I don't want to get in trouble. I'm like, sure, whatever. Like,
I got kicked out of catechism, so
did you?
Yeah, at 14. I got kicked out. So
I've always been scared of people. on stage, I'm fine. Like one-on-one right now with you, with somebody that I know and trust, I'm fine.
Yeah.
This show's been cool because like I'm not really as scared anymore to meet new people or of all that stuff. But when it comes to a group to where I'm not already known, I have a lot of fears.
Yeah.
You know, and that was kind of the thing with like going to meetings when I first got out. I don't feel that way now. But when I first got out, I would see all these people that already knew each other. And I was telling the truth when I told Shannon in that episode. Like, I would go to the one where it was all the kids my age, stand there with them. I'd go outside after and hang around them and talk to them. And, you know, like, yeah, cool. And then whenever I say something, they're like, And I'm like, did that just happen? Or is that my paranoia? Like, what? And it just got to such a nervous state on whether I was in my own head or it was really happening. And how else do you say that without saying something? Like, how do you find out without being, hey, are you ignoring me or am I just being crazy?
Right. Well, it's probably also your experience with the youth group too.
Yeah, probably.
You know, but yeah, I mean, I found that when I came down here too. And I'm not passionate because, you know, that's what got me sober, was being in a meeting twice a day for 4 years, you know, well, 2 years. And then I came down here and I didn't feel like I fit in.
Yeah.
I felt the same way. Like I was standing there, but like everybody was doing their own thing. They already knew each other. And I didn't know how to get past that. So I get what you're saying. And
yeah. I still don't feel like I fit in sometimes.
Yeah. Like,
I mean, that's what I try to tell. Like, I have these amazing, and yeah, I should probably talk about how great my life is. That's how the whole thing of recovery is, how your life gets better.
Yeah.
But like, I was like, I try to like tell my kids, like my stepsons are amazing human beings, 14 and 16. My 14-year-old, he'll walk into any situation. What me and my 16-year-old stepson have in common is I will, when he walks into thing, like he already thinks like I did, like it's a nervous, like either I don't know whether he's thinking, because I'm not in his head and we don't talk about it, I don't know whether he's thinking I'm not good enough for these people, or I'm too good, or I'm not going to be cool enough, or are they already making fun? Like, I know he's in his head. Yeah. Just like I used to be. Yeah. And still am sometimes. Yeah. Like, I really wish I could tell him, like, man, I know how you're feeling, but kids don't listen. Yeah. To parents. Like, it doesn't matter whether it's not the same, Dad. Like, it's not.
Right. You don't understand.
You don't understand. Yeah. Like, I mean,
yeah, I do.
Again, I'm just a big kid. Like, adults are not, like, parents are not. Parents are just people just like you that are winging it every fucking day. Right. Like, God, I have so much more respect for my parents now after having kids.
Oh my gosh,
yeah. I digress though. Yeah, no, I mean, when I got out, I did everything right. Like, I got a community. Like, I mean, there was Amy and Paige and Alex and Jackie. Oh my gosh. I used to love it when I saw Phyllis randomly at meetings. Yeah. I think that was before she started coming down every other
She just gave years too.
Yeah, I know. Yeah. She's 1 week before me. Yeah. Yep. And every year I'm like, yeah, girl. I need to get her on here.
I know. I keep telling her, I'm like, will you please?
I'm just gonna have to go to her. That's what
we're gonna make her come down here. That's what we're gonna do.
Well, I mean, I can go to her too. This is all portable.
I do have a Phyllis. I sent.
Oh yeah. You said you had questions.
Yeah. So Phyllis, what was the most influential thing you heard or saw in treatment or early recovery, aside from meeting Robin? She put that in parentheses.
Honestly, this tickles my ego. There was a dude. There was a dude about 18 to 20 days when I was in rehab that had been there about 4 days. Huge guy. His name is Homer. I'm still friends with him now on Facebook. And now he's got like a kid. He's got his family. But he was there and he was just like, man, I can't be here. I'm about to leave. I'm like, why? And I don't know what made me walk in the cafeteria. Oh no, I remember. I don't remember why I walked in the cafeteria, but I saw him sitting there, and I'm like, this guy's been by himself a lot. So I walked up to him, and I was just like, hey man, what's up? And he was like groggy and all that, and he was like, I don't want to fucking be here. I'm like, why not, man? And he didn't want to talk. I'm like, talk to me, dude. Like, look, you might not want to talk to all these counselors and all that shit here. And he's like, this place is like a prison. I'm like, I'm playing a bullshit. And he laughed because that's a line from a Will Ferrell movie. And he goes, I see you making people laugh here. I'm like, well, all right, now I'm not trying to make you laugh.
Yeah.
Like, you look like something's up. What's up? It's just me and you. What's up? Like, if you're going to trust anybody, trust me. I'm not going to tell anybody anything.
Right.
But I can probably give you some. I'll either tell you you're right and you should leave, or I'll tell you the reasons that you should stay. How about that? He goes, cool. He goes, man, I just got to get back to work. My boss gave me time off to come here, but he didn't give me no 28 fucking days.
Yeah.
He goes, I've been here like 5, 10, I can't remember what amount he said. We'll say 7 days, just probably a happy medium. And he was like, I'm just going to leave. I'm like, what were you here for? He was like, heroin. I'm like, well, you're just having withdrawals you want to use again. And he was like, and I didn't know. I'm still to this day, I've never seen heroin in real life. I don't know what the fuck. Anyway, I had been feeling the same way too secretly. So like, look, man, I don't know much about heroin or anything like that, but I can tell you, if you leave here, you're going to die. He goes, well, why are you staying here? And I'm like, because I realized that I need help and I wasn't able to give it to myself out there. And this is things that I'd never really said to myself yet.
Yeah.
Kind of a Billy thing to say that Billy's the inspiration. God, I'm going to be 70 and not over myself. But no, I'm not, like, I was realizing it as I was saying it. I was just like, because I couldn't do it out there, and this is where I came to get help, and I'm here. And then Carmen's voice in my head going, when are you going to help yourself? Came up, and it all hit home. Turns out he did stay.
That's awesome.
He turned out to be an amazing human being. Like, is a master HVAC, like just a genius at like designing all that stuff. He just had a baby.
Yeah.
From what I see online, like doing a great job being a dad. He's still alive, which is the first good part about.
That's cool. In one conversation.
Yeah, just having one,
yeah.
like just knowing that, like me not knowing anything about them. And it wasn't about me helping somebody. It was the fact that I realized why I was there and what I needed to do. I needed to shut the fuck up. Yeah. And I needed to pay attention. That was probably like the most eye-opening thing. But I think the biggest, and look, this is going to tickle his ego, but I don't give a shit. The biggest thing that inspired me in rehab was listening to Tony. The first time I met him in a class was his ideas about mindset really kind of opened my eyes. Now, it was 8 years ago, so I can't tell you what he said right now.
Is it about the broken arm thing?
That just zinged me, yeah. But he made it. Every other instructor in there, except for my small group counselor, was saying the same thing. Yeah. They were all saying the same thing. They were all like just being calm and monotone and trying not to get the thing. Then here comes Tony going in, just let your soul glow, hair blowing. Like, just didn't care, trotting around the front with his finger talking to us. And I'm like, preach it, brother. Yeah. Like, I was so impressed by that. Like, just the way, and there's one thing I do, and it's not going to be exact words. I remember him making me realize that the reason that I didn't, even those deep down in my heart and my soul, I knew I needed to get sober. Yeah. I knew I wasn't going to survive if I didn't get sober. Right. That comedy, which was my reason for being at that time, was not gonna go anywhere for me to go somewhere and get sober. It wasn't like somebody else was just gonna come in and be another Billy. There was only one of those dumb motherfuckers.
Right.
But he made me realize that I basically needed to step out of myself, get out of my own way, and let the real me learn how to be me without all that stuff.
Right.
Because it was the other ego Billy that is still there. He's quiet now. He chills. He's retired, I think. But every now and then he pops up. But it was that one that wanted to be seen and heard all the time. Needed a light on him at all times. Needed to have attention. And if he wasn't getting it, he had to entertain himself by filling up with booze and pills and whatever else was around.
Yeah.
I would say that was probably the biggest thing, was realizing that I needed to shut up by helping somebody else, but Tony in there too.
Yeah. Okay. Cool. You
That was a good question, Phyllis. Yeah.
Okay. All right. So let's see. All right.
I miss you, Phyllis.
Diana. If you could go back today and talk to the younger version of you when you were on your last, high or drunk, what would you tell yourself?
That's a great one. Thank you, Diana. Not that I would have listened. I would tell myself, the faster you can get done with this and start learning how to live in a sober skin, the faster life will get better. And it's going to get better quick. It's not going to be these years and years that you hear all these stories about of struggling. Your life is going to dramatically change in 1 year, 3 months. When you meet this chick on Plenty of Fish, the Section 8 of dating apps, and go sit at a bench downtown, smoke half a pack of cigarettes, and regurgitate your whole life to her, somehow thinking she's going to run away, but then she's not. She's going to stay, and you're going to have a great life. Oh, shit.
That's awesome.
Fuck off, Diana. That was a good one.
I know. I met Robin a couple times, but man, just the way you talk about her, it's just on your podcast.
She is like, look, like, and I'm not, I don't even know if my ex-wife's ever watched this before. I try not to ever, like, we were good friends. I think we both wanted to be good spouses to each other, but didn't have the capabilities.
Yeah. We guys are drinking, right?
We were drinking.
Yeah, I mean, it's when I look at couples that are like drinking and doing stuff, I'm like, how do you do that? Because it's got to be toxic.
Yeah. Well, I was also being enabled from her just like I was my parents. Like, she made really good money, and I made almost no money.
Yeah.
And like when we moved up to Virginia for her to work for the company, ironically I work for now, like she was like, you can just be a stay-at-home husband. I'm like, what?
In.
I mean, I just sat there and smoked weed all day and had some sort of shitty dinner or ordered dinner with her money.
Yeah.
And then we'd drink on the porch till like 11, and she'd go to bed. Then I'd go up to my third floor man cave and just drink and smoke more cigarettes and play video games till 6 in the morning. Then do it all over again the next day. Did that for a year. Like, it was, but with Robin, man, it's like we've still to this day, we've been together 6 years, been married for almost 2. We've yet to ever argue or raise our voices.
Isn't that amazing?
It is. And it's like she's so smart about so much that I'm not. And I'm so smart about some stuff that I'm sure she's just as smart about, but she's throwing me a bone.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's what I would tell myself, is to don't worry. I would let them know that it's gonna get better. It's gonna get better quick, but you've got to put in the work. You've got to put in the work that you would normally put into everything else into this. And I would also tell them to not be such a whore the first 4 months of sobriety. I would definitely just work on yourself, dude. Keep going to all your meetings, because I did. I went 90 to 90 and one at noon and one after at night. I probably did 120 and 90, but
you got to work on yourself.
Yeah,
definitely got to work on yourself, because you just coming into a ball mess.
Yeah,
2 sickies don't make a welly.
Yeah.
So.
Well, what was it? Jackie or Paige one time told me, it was like, "Hey, 2 dead batteries ain't gonna start the fucking car."
Yeah,
I'm like, yeah, that's true.
Yep. All right, let's see. Okay, Michelle. Okay.
Aww.
She gave me a bunch of them.
Good.
And let's see. What was your biggest challenge in early recovery, and how did you overcome it?
It wasn't drinking. I made sure of that, or wanting to drink. It wasn't the urge to drink, because I had made such a big deal to the comedy club and to everybody else about me going to rehab and being sober. And in fact, it was in all my material and stuff. I had already ingrained it in my head that I can't do this, or I'm going to be looked at differently. I don't think I did it for the reason that I'm thinking I did it for now, but I'm glad I did. The biggest challenge I had was keeping myself from getting in my own way again. From not trying to find an immediate substitute, to not letting the disease have too much say so in my life. It was still chirping and it was loud, screaming at me. But I would I was doing things I'd never done. I read more books in that first year than I had my whole entire life. And since then, I still haven't read that many books since that first entire year. Taking care of my body was something that I really went for, exercising and running. I looked good after about 7 months. I had first 6-pack of my life, and I didn't last long. But finding things that I could do that made the creative side of me feel fed. Does that make sense? Now, a lot of people don't have the creative outlets that I do, but everybody has creative outlets.
Right.
Even if you haven't found it yet.
Right.
Robin loves knitting, crocheting, reading her witchy books. It's amazing on how that girl can find community somewhere.
Yeah. She's your yin to your yang.
Yeah, she really is. Yeah. I am a big kid, and she is an adult that puts up with me. Best way I can describe it.
We love Robin.
I do. She's great.
All right. Let Michonne.
Yeah, boy.
Michonne sent me in one. He's been busy on a paper, so yeah, give him credit. What was I think you already answered that. What was your rock bottom for you? And that was just kind of waking up and
Well, see, the thing is, I had done that before.
Yeah.
I'd woken up with my car wrecked before.
Okay.
I think the rock bottom was the people that I cared about the most, which were Marco and Alan, telling me that they were done.
Doing an intervention.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And it wasn't even an intervention, because I saw it in their eyes that they didn't give a fuck what I did, but if I didn't stop, they were done.
Yeah.
And that's where I'm like, no, you're my brothers. You're the only 2 people I truly love. And so I think that was my rock bottom was having the 2 people that I wanted in my life the most say that they were very, very close to not being in it.
Yeah. That's really good friends, and that's good. Do your character defects still pop up, and if so, how do you deal with them or manage them?
Wow, AK, you must watch the show. Yeah, they do. I've had 3 big ones that I've had to keep in check. Anger, animosity. That's huge. The biggest one is animosity. and self-deprecation. The three get together. First, it's all called, and this is where Ed's episode blew me away, because I mean, animosity for me is huge, because it's huge in the entertainment business. Why am I not getting that show? Why did he get that show? I'm funnier than that person, or that band's not as good as my band. Like, I blow that guy. I'll run that guy off the stage. Being that I've been performing since I was like 10, probably a little bit before that, like, animosity is huge for me. Now it's not so much about performing, because I don't do it really anymore. I get furious when I see somebody with the most horrible, just not a good person, have so much and not have to worry about, like, financially especially. Like, if I see a rich asshole, I'm like, fuck you. Like, do you know how your money could help me and my family? And you're like, oh, kids are dumb. I don't want kids. I'm just going to live this porn star lifestyle. I'm like, bro, you look beat up. You're not living no porn. The only reason you are is because you have money. Like animosity is my biggest weakness, because instead of being grateful for what I have and what I've built, which is a lot, like, I am so grateful, like, that I realized today, they did a credit check on me. When I got sober, my credit was like 200, 250. I did it today and it was in the high 600s.
Isn't that a good feeling?
I'm like, holy shit.
Yeah. How'd I do that?
Oh, my wife?
Yeah.
No, I mean, like, really, she taught me like fiscal responsibility. Like, she, like, hey, you can get a credit card, you can get this little firm thing, but you gotta do little things, pay it off, and then get another little thing, pay it off. Now, of course, I went ape shit, but I still paid it all off. Self-deprecation, because I'm really hard on myself all the time. Like, even about this show, like, if I'm editing the show and I'm like, this is great, this is going to be wonderful, which I always say, and then it doesn't come out, it's not ever the guest's fault. It's my fault, because I didn't focus in a camera correctly, or the audio's too punchy, or I didn't realize for those last 2 episodes that table was hollow and the mics were sitting right on the table, so whenever I would do this to the table, it would reverberate and make the whole sound pop, and it would never go back to normal. Like, things like that. Like, I'm so hard on myself, because like, I just wasted that person's time. You know, sometimes I feel like I'm not worth my daughter having me as a dad, which I know is bullshit, because she's fucking lucky I'm her dad, and I'm lucky I'm her dad. Yeah, that's right. I said that right.
So what are you most proud of?
I mean, definitely my family is on the list. The fact that I found somebody that can love me unconditionally. The fact that, like, I have a kid that I never thought I was going to have, 2 amazing stepsons, a house. But without me having the strength to take humility and make it into a strength itself, and be like, everything you've done up to now, it sucks, but it's okay. It didn't kill you. You can't let it kill you. Just learn how to be better. And I gotta be honest, like, I've worked harder and been harder on myself about becoming a better person than anything. Which, when you're learning to be a parent, it's hard to be the best version of yourself. So hard, especially with, like, teenagers. And especially when you're not their parent. You know, you always think you know better than the other ones, the real ones. So you always think that you know what's best for the you know, and yeah, I think the thing I'm most proud of was having the ability and the strength and the patience with myself to not only stay sober, goes without saying, but to not allow myself to get back in my own way and to be able to become that better version of myself. I'm just glad I'm not still a shitbag, to put it bluntly.
Yeah.
I haven't stolen anything or lied to anybody. Mm-hmm. I have not had self-afflicted, avoidable guilt in 8 years. Like, I haven't had to sincerely say, I'm a shitbag, I'm sorry, in 8 years. I've still had to say I'm sorry because I can still be an asshole.
Right.
But that's not being a shitbag.
Right.
I haven't had to hide something I've done.
Mm-hmm.
You know, I haven't had to be sneaky. I think that's the biggest thing I can say to anybody in early recovery. Just the how do you think it's gonna feel when you realize you haven't had to say you're sorry for something that you could have avoided, that you know you wouldn't have done without those substances?
Mm-hmm.
With or realize that you haven't stolen, lied, cheated, or snuck around.
Yeah.
How freeing that's gonna feel.
Huge.
That to me is like the greatest gift.
Yeah.
My kids and my wife and my family, they're great gifts. All these cool fucking toys I have, I'll throw them away tomorrow if somebody told me if I keep them, I'm gonna feel guilt like that again.
Yeah.
I never want to feel that again. I don't think that anybody can ever say, hey, yeah, I'm recovered. No, but you can recover.
Yeah. Yeah, absolutely.
And you're always gonna be able to recover. Mm-hmm. But I don't believe, and I don't think it's healthy to believe that you have recovered.
We're working on every day.
Yeah,
every day we get a little bit better. You know what I mean? And I always tell my husband, it's like, what you did in your past is your past. It's not who you are today.
Yeah.
That was the drugs. That was the alcohol.
Mm-hmm.
You know what I mean? And same, you know what I'm saying? And like, you just keep moving forward. And I don't know. I think your answer was great. So
I don't think that
time to practice on that one.
Honestly, that's not even the answer I was going to get.
Really?
Yeah, I was going to be cliche as fuck. I was going to say, I was like, yeah, my wife and kids, like, they know that I love them. They know I'm grateful for them. But one thing I realized right there, and it's blowing my mind right now, that's why I'm jumping up and down. I just had a fucking epiphany.
There you go.
Is I haven't felt shiesty.
Yeah. Yeah.
In 8 years. Like, I've never had that vicious cycle of lying to cover up one thing and then having to tell 10 more lies to cover up that one original lie, and then having to end up steal, lie, cheat, or steal or be more sneaky to cover up the other 10 lies. It's a thing that just kills you slowly. Mm-hmm. And I do not feel like I have damaged myself. Mm-hmm. Well, besides nicotine.
Yeah.
I think that's the most freeing thing, and the thing that I'm most proud of is I haven't had that guilt in 8 years, and I will fucking fight hand, tooth, and nail.
Yeah. I'll
catfight a bitch, like, just to not go back there, you know? And I never realized how powerful that question was until it was actually asked. You did. That was good. That was really good. I think the show is really important, and I on the Facebook page, the YouTube page, there's the donation thing. I think it's really important. I really want to see you continue doing this. Thank you. It's important to me, and I'm sorry I don't remember everything. You're fine. I watch all the shows all the time. But it's really important to me, and I look forward to it. And I know doing it every week is hard with the family and work and just doing life. But I would hate to see you not do it. So
you know, I hope that, you know, I don't think you really put it out there about the donations, but there is donations on the YouTube channel, on the on what?
Yeah, it's
PayPal.
YouTube, TikTok. I've put every under your. Where you were like, man, everybody ain't got PayPal, and I'm like, oh, really? No, okay. And like now there's like Cash App, there's Venmo, there's all that stuff, and I don't use a cent. Of that for myself. I have my own money.
Yeah. But you're doing this on your own, you know what I mean, for us to watch, and you're using your own time. You're not getting paid for this, and you need the equipment that you need and whatever. So I think it's super important that, you know, people take a little bit of time, and people that are watching you, and they need to, you know.
Thank you.
I would appreciate it if they donated.
I would appreciate it too. Thank
you
you
don't
for saying
say it that much.
I know, because I always feel bad.
I get it. I get it.
I'm always just like, I'm not doing this because I don't want anyone to think I'm ever doing it for money, because I'm not. Like, I'm doing it because yes, it helps me, and I know it helps other people. I would like to do service work, and this is kind of, now that I know it's considered service work, and hey, now I know I'm doing it, like, this is the only way I know how.
Yeah, well, you are.
You are. I don't have the patience to do what you do.
Well,
because I'm too blunt. Like, I'm.
You don't think I'm too
I know you are, but you were at least like sweet about it.
Yeah. I think you're great, and congratulations on your 8 years. And
thank you, sis. I appreciate it. I love you so much. Have already given me the best gift. This is gonna be the one. This one and last year's. I'm gonna get one of those coin frames.
Oh yeah, okay.
Yeah, that's what I'm gonna do.
Well,
now let's do it.
Okay, now I got it.
What do you say?
We made our day.
Yeah.